for this. I mean, the profound hypocrisy that runs through deep through the veins of Western society is stunning. It's a breathtaking level of dishonesty, this performative outrage over so-called grooming gangs, Pakistani grooming gangs, while the overwhelming majority of these types of crimes are committed by white Britons. That's a fact. 85% of grooming cases, grooming gang offenses, are carried out by white men. In fact, data from 2023 shows that 83% of child sexual abuse suspects were white, while only 2.7 were of Asian descent. Grooming is your culture, not ours. If anyone whose heritage is from the Muslim world, or from Asia, or what have you, if any of those types of people are involved in these very British, very Western activities, well, these are just the ones who have successfully assimilated to your culture, that's all. I mean, look at the numbers. In 2023, out of 1,884 child sexual abuse suspects, 1,623 were white. That's an overwhelming 85%. The data tells us that in the first 3 quarters of 2024, there were 144 white suspects compared to just 31 British Pakistani suspects in group-based child sexual exploitation cases. That's grooming gangs. 85% were white. So in reality, while you're clamoring on and on and on about a so-called cover-up of the British Pakistani grooming cases, in fact, you only want to talk about these cases as a way to cover up your own mass scale criminality. You want to talk about them because you want to hide the fact that you do these things more than anyone. So you're using this talk of a cover-up precisely to cover up your own crimes, which is absolutely familiar to us. It's so familiar that it's predictable. That's how fundamentally unserious you are in your society about protecting women, how fundamentally unserious you are about protecting children. This is how deeply unserious you are about justice, and really how deeply committed you are as a culture, as a society, as a so-called civilization to never change, to never evolve, and to never civilize. Honestly, it's absolutely the case that whatever the West says, if you want to understand the world, then you have to take whatever they say and realize that the opposite is the reality. Truly. And every time they make an accusation, it's nothing but a confession. They speak in backward code, you know? It's not that they don't tell you what they're doing. It's just that instead of saying that they're doing it, they'll say that you're doing it. So that's how you can always know what they're doing, because they'll accuse you of doing the thing that they're doing. And anytime they say that things are a certain kind of way, well, you know that it's the opposite of whatever they said. Just read everything that they say backwards. Just read everything that they say backwards, and you will understand what's really being said. It's like those, remember when they used to get those, find those satanic messages that they would play backwards? When they would play a song backwards, they would find satanic messages in the lyrics. Well, that's every pronouncement that the West ever makes. Just play it backwards, and you'll hear the satanic message that they're really telling you. So when they say, for example, that they're outraged because Asian men are grooming and raping minors, what they're really saying is that white British men are grooming and raping minors, and that they're happy about it. Just like when they say that Muslims are terrorists, what they are really saying is that they are terrorizing Muslims. That's how it works. That's how you translate them. That's how you translate Western diatribes. Just run it backwards, which is completely consistent with their whole backwards culture. Your so-called civilization is a grooming civilization. It's an exploitative civilization, abusive, predatory, and sociopathic on the micro level and on the macro level. You ruin your own people, and you corrupt your own people, and you ruin and you corrupt any people who come to live with you. And you try to ruin and corrupt the people in the countries where you colonize. And it's a shame. You don't give your own people a chance. Wallahi, it's a shame. You don't give your own people a chance. You don't give your own people the tools. In fact, you actively deprive them of the tools to be decent, to be moral, to be principled, to be good. You actually indoctrinate your people, and you brainwash your people, and you groom your people into degeneracy and perversion and moral relativism. And you can't possibly hate a people more than that. You can't possibly hate people more than when you encourage them and you coerce them into destroying themselves, into destroying their own souls. Why, it's inhuman. And then you add insult to injury by gaslighting your whole society. I swear, it's like you're choking someone and calling it CPR. It's diabolical. And that's the only real reason why you're going on and on and on about this minuscule slice of your national criminality that's being committed by non-white British people. Because as long as you can fool Muslims into trying to so-called defend ourselves against your accusations, well, then you never have to defend yourselves and your indefensible behavior. But I'm telling you, this addiction to avoidance of accountability is not going to serve you well in the long term. It's not going to serve you well. Just as it doesn't work for individuals, it's not going to work for a nation. It doesn't work for nations, ultimately. I mean, maybe that's why you all talk about colonizing outer space, because you've completely ruined your reputation on this planet. Your whole society is a rape gang, I'm sorry to tell you. And the entire global south can testify to that. And you are the most prolific serial criminals in history. So spare me your conspicuously selective pretend moral outrage. These crimes are not only not connected in any way whatsoever to Islam or to Muslims, they are very Western crimes. And the truth is that in Islam, we know very well how to deal with people who commit these kinds of crimes. So if you want to extradite your criminals over to us, to our lands for punishment, well, we'll take care of it. We know how to take care of it. Just make sure that you send all of them. Send the whole lot of them. Don't just send the ones that you get mad about. Send us your white criminals too, and we'll take care of it. But of course, if you send us your white criminals, well, then I think London would be a ghost town.